Well, today I'm going to speak on behalf of the abused democracy, which I have conceived in my mind due to the observations that I have gathered over the years that democracy, which is definitely the best system of governance as far as it is practicable, uh, how it has been abused, misused, and the fruits of democracy that should have been coming to people, that should have been enriching the whole world, that should have been making this world uh, more beautiful in terms of cohesiveness, peace, morality, and general faith in the system. That has not happened. At least to me, it doesn't seem to have happened or even to be happening at any level. That is why my inner conscience asked me to speak out what I feel about the misuse and abuse of democracy, and in what ways things have turned so sour, which right in the beginning might have been sweet to a great extent. First of all, I would like to get into the background of the concept of democracy. We all know this is the world that is earthly world, and human beings have been described as individuals having different sorts of minds, different sorts of thinking capacities, very quick thinking people, and then uh, medium level thinking people or slow thinking people, and extremely handicapped in terms of thinking. And therefore, this world is peopled by humans, but not all humans have the same capacity to act, to react, to work, to rework, to understand the things happening around them, and to live according to the basic principle of this earthly life, which says that everybody, every creature has the right to live. And this right may be written, or this right may be recognized in documents, or may be understood that whoever is born on this planet has to live. Although, even this is said, and people have heard that existence on this earth is very difficult. Only those creatures happen to survive the onslaughts, the attacks, the calamities, and all kinds of challenges to life who are strong or who are capable of surviving. Struggles are everywhere for survival. So the stories of survival through struggles, the stories of survival through challenges, these stories have been always on, and they will continue to be on as long as this earth survives. So this is what is the nature of our world, that we have limited resources, and we have limited good resources, and we have limited facilities, and all people want to have facilities for themselves, or concessions for themselves, or privileges for themselves, but that is not possible. If privileges are unlimited, then the unlimited number of people could avail of them, or could experience the privileges through their life, but that is not possible. So limited resources have to be had, and those who are more capable, more mindful, more alert, more vigilant, they happen to grab. as much as they can, or at least something they get because of their fights, because of their struggles, because of their attempts and actions. Now I come to the concept of this democracy, because people have to live in order. I mean, people have to live peacefully. Everybody has to live. Everybody has to be given justice, and it is presupposed that some of the people, they create disturbances, or they create obstacles, or they make obstacles on the ways of other people's endeavors or success attempts. And then there arises arguments and counter arguments, or there is no question of arguments and counter arguments, because wrongdoers, they can't defend themselves. They can't enter into arguments, and they can prove themselves that they have a right to disturb others, or they have a right to damage others. Nobody has any right. But then certain situations happen when you can't help. Take, for example, you go to a church, and the church has some sort of festival to celebrate, and thousands of people gather there to witness or to experience the activities at the festival. And therefore, you have lots of people, but you don't have space. And all the members of the crowd happen to see some people speaking, or one person is speaking, and that speaking person is liked by most of them. So many of them would like to be near that important person, or good person, or impressive person. They would like to be as near that speaking person as it is possible. And the result would be that everybody would try. Again, the same struggle for existence. You want to exist at that time by being nearer the speaker, because you think that if you happen to be nearer the speaker, if you see him nicely, then you exist in a better way in that moment, or in those moments, that you feel happy, and you tell the story of your happiness, that you could succeed getting near that person. But so many people would rush towards him, or they would find ways, or they would find excuses to reach near that person. And in the process, you have stampede, you have a melee, and people happen to be jostle against one another, get into pushings and pullings, and then you have the resultant stampede, and people get crushed under other people's feet and bodies, and get people get killed also, crippled also, maimed also, or you can say injured, wounded in so many ways. That is the nature of our society. So, why is the need for the system of any kind of governance? The need is there that if something goes wrong between two individuals, or among individuals divided into two parties, three parties, four parties, or different groups, then there have to be certain people to decide that the wrongdoers have to be punished, or they have to be cautioned first. They have to be reminded that they have to live in a way that they don't happen to harm others. And they can't deliberately do that. If they do, they are liable to be punished. Or there have to be sets of rules and regulations. And these rules and regulations and laws have to be brought into the notices of all the people of that locality, or of that society, or that country, or the whole world, because you have national laws, international laws, global laws. Systems are there. Systems have to be there to regulate life, so that people live peacefully. And if odd conditions appear, then you have arbiters, you have judges, you have deciders, and these arbiters, these judges, these deciders, these jurymen or jury people, they take their decisions in reference to the sets of rules and regulations and laws that are already enacted and approved, and available for deciding cases. So, take the example that before democracy appeared, perhaps monarchy, or what we call some sort of feudalism, feudal lords, they would be ruling over an area of their influence. Monarchy, a king or the queen will be having the work done, the work of administration through their ministers or through their men of wisdom and knowledge and capability. But as the civilization grew, people became more and more aware. They started knowing more about the nature of nature, the mother nature. Then they thought of getting things coded. They thought of getting rules and regulations coded, or you can say registered for the use of the present generation then and the future generation. Monarchy, but then later on people decided why in a monarchy the son or the daughter of the queen or the king, why should they follow their parents to rule? And there should be a system in which anybody can become the ruler or the leader or the, you can say, the head, you can say, guide to run the affairs of the society or the country. That's why democracy, and we have come to know about the modern definition of democracy, and so many people, so many countries claim that democracy started in their places. I am from India, speaking from Calcutta, and as a student I have learned, and as a teacher, I have helped other people learn by way of telling them what I had learned about democracy and all that. And Lincoln is quoted as one of the leading personalities who defined modern democracy. So in India also they say that in the ancient time that around the time when Buddha was born, Lord Buddha was born, and he got into the process of getting to know the truths of life, why things fall apart, why so many diseases, what are the karmas, and what are the ways to have salvation and all that. So Buddha's philosophy got popular everywhere. So democracy then is defined as democracy is a system of governance, and this system of governance actually is supported by people, executed by people, and then the fruits of the system happen to be shared by all the people in a society or everywhere. And to be more precise, democracy is defined as the government of the people, for the people, by the people, and that democracy was supposed to be much better than other systems available or other systems that could have been thought out, but the leaders, educated people, or the conscientious people, or people having uncommon common sense, they perhaps realized that democracy was the best system of governance, means of the people, government of the people, for the people, by the people. But the definition to me seems not to be all right. People, what do you mean by people? People are not like pencils and pens that are manufactured in factories and firms, or you can say industries where they have a certain size, they have a certain shape, and they have certain function. Their function is, you can say, of certain duration. So people are not like pencils or pens or like dusters or like things that are, you can say, unthinking or non-thinking. People are thinking individuals. Human beings are thinking individuals, and pencils of a certain brand may write the same way or may give the same sort of writing, but that is not the case with the people. Different people think differently. So, as different trees give us different kinds of fruits, trees that are mango trees, and you get mango. But even all the different trees that bear mango fruit are not the same. You have different kinds of mangoes having different names, different shades, different colors, different tastes, a different level of sweetness. Like that, living human beings, individuals, we now have almost 800, you can say, crore people or 8 billion people, and we have each individual is different. So we can say as trees are different, plants are different, so human beings are different. broadly categorizing, human beings can be very tolerant, can be reasonably tolerant, can be just tolerant, can be extremely aggressive, can be aggressive, can be you can say aggressive to manageable extent. People can be, suppose, very peaceful also, very quiet also, very creative, constructive also, but people could be very, very violent also at different levels. Then how to take them for granted? How to take them as one kind of people? If democracy has to be the government of the people, for the people, by the people, then there has to be some conditioning, as Plato had envisaged. Plato, the great ancient philosopher from Greece, and perhaps he had expressed his partiality for those people who were selfless and committed to public welfare, public good. And Plato talked about such people existing, you can say, in very low number, small number. And Plato wanted such people to be in the driver's seats, or such people to be leaders in society, rulers in society, because their only interest would be the interest of the common people, all the people. And again, common people, all the people don't deserve to be given rewards equally, because people's nature different. If you are positive, if you are honest, if you are hardworking, if you are, you can say, far-sighted, if you don't have much partiality. Human beings have to have partiality. You can't suppose, even a mother has some sort of partiality in favor of one of the children that she has born, and see the mother, and she loves all the children equally. But sometimes you feel, as a mother yourself, as a father yourself, that of the four children that you have, one of the children is very polite, very nice, very obedient, non-disturbing, non-violent, understanding, cooperative, helping, loving, capable of loving and capable of being loved. And you have a shade of partiality for that child. And you say, oh, all the children are good, all the children are good. But X is a bit better. X is a bit milder. X is a bit pleasanter, more pleasanter. This is what even a mother says. Then when it comes to people, then you see that many people, they are mischievous, they are naughty, they are criminal minded. See, take the example that I said that democracy has been the best system of government, as decided by people, as thought out by people, educated people, cultured people, far-sighted people all over the world. But there's no place in the world where you have ideal democracy. There's no country in the world where you have even 75% of the democratic principles executed fairly, and administration running on the basis of that. It doesn't happen. Everywhere, democracy has been misused, abused. And people who are, you can say, who have money power, muscle power, or power of cunningness, power of, you can say, cheating others, and these people, they become, you can say, the helpers of the rulers, or they become the power brokers, and they share the fruits of what you call that. Means you bribe the government in terms of your muscle power, money power, you give them donations, you give them men and materials during elections, you help them win the elections, and then you get the share of your investment later on when these people come into the government. So I think I, as an individual having limited capacity to understand things, because there is no human being on the earth who can claim that, well, his capacity to observe things or to make decisions or to be on the side of justice 100%. All of us are capable in different degrees, varying degrees, but nobody is absolutely ever right. Nobody is absolutely ever correct in all matters. You may be correct from one point of view. You may be correct to some people, you may be correct to some places, but sometimes you may be a bit incorrect in terms of your decisions in favor or against the people. So, democracy has to be defined as, let democracy be the government of the good people, for the good people, by the good people. Because the essence of democracy, as far as I think, is that it should deliver fruits. It should yield, it should produce good results for the people. Then who can produce? Who can produce good results? Who can be a very accurate aims man? Who can be a very good football player? Who can be a good singer? A good singer is the one who has a good voice, but at the same time, a good singer is the one who sings only those lyrics, or he sings only those, you can say, what you call songs that are soul enriching, mind enriching, and really, you can see what you call uh, celebrational. You can't, you have a good voice and you can't lend that voice to a lyric that is foul of sin and that arouses lust of the body, that arouses you sexually. That can't be a good song. Okay, for some people it is all right that you get aroused and you enjoy and you make merry and you feel that you have forgotten all tension of life, but you have the side effects, because after the song is faded, the song has been stopped to be played. You have, you can say, you are out of, means the function is over, the song is over, people have dispersed, and then you start, suppose, behaving abnormally, or you start getting into the wrong ways. So, democracy, of course, is one of the best systems of governance, or perhaps the best system. But if democracy is, you can say, for the bad people, by the bad people, and for the welfare, or for the selfish benefits of the bad people, then where is the essence of democracy? Because in a democratic society, society should move forward. Society should be better and better. Society should be pleasanter and pleasanter in terms of collective living or individual living or family living. But if you have in a society majority of the people who are criminal minded and they are bad people, friends, they say that one friend killed the other. How can these two individuals be friends ever? Because friendship has certain principles, certain ideas. You call yourself a friend if you are selfless to the extent that you can be, that you have such thinking that you will be helping your friend, you will be coming to the defense of your friend if your friend is in, suppose you can say, adversity, if your friend is in problem. But if your friend is not in adversity, and that is natural, or you can say genuine adversity, he is in adversity because he is about to be arrested because he has committed murder, theft, and then you try to help him. You are not his friend. If you are his friend, then you ask him to surrender to the police or to surrender to the laws so that he should come to justice. You cannot be friends with people who are criminals. And if you continue to be friends with them, then you are also criminals, passive criminals or indirect criminals. So let democracy be a system where good people, because good people can create, they can deliver, they can contribute to the, you can say, new building or new innovative process where things would come out better. Things would be much more, you can say, what you call, uh, much more capable of, you can say, helping others or keeping people happy. So, in a society where 70% people are illiterate, they are thieves, they, in the presence of their other family members, they seem to be all right, but they kill one another, they abuse one another. How can such people be voters in the first case? How can such people participate in the process of electing representatives? Because if the majority of the people in a society are bad people, it is the bad people who get elected or who get out through election as successful candidates. And such people, they are bad. How can you expect bad people to deliver anything for the society's progress, for the progress of all individuals? And therefore you need to have good soil, cultivated soil, in order for the seeds to, you can say, what you call a sprout and give new saplings and all that. So uh, I see that in developing countries, in all countries of the world, no, I assume means words. America is supposed to be the most developed, the most powerful, and the number one economy in the world. But see, what has been happening in America? Every 20 days, 25 days, you have shootings in schools. Early teenagers, they indulge in shootings. They get provoked at one thing or the other, and they get very easily provoked. People very easily come into rage and they commit crimes. And then you have parties rivalry. And this party A says that the party B is rotten. Party B says party A is rotten. And if you have six, seven parties, each party or two parties, the rotten parties coming together, and if there is a party that is a bit less rotten, then that party is called names. That party, it is worse than all the parties in the world. So there has to be some sort of scientific, you can say what we call uh, input or scientific process, and that you allow good people. And how to, what is the definition of a good person, or what is the definition of a good community? I think you don't have to stretch your imagination. A good person is the one who perhaps doesn't cheat, or he, even if he can cheat, he hates cheating. If a person is good, he works as much as he can. If a person is good, he respects, you can say, women members of society, because women generally are physically weaker than men. So if somebody is weaker, then that somebody should be given easier work to perform. And people who are stronger bodily, they should carry loads, or they should do. This is the right thing. Means as a human being, you don't ask your 3-year little sister to carry a packet for you. You are 7 years old and your sister is 3 years, or you are 8 years old or 7 years, your brother is only 3 years. So you take your brothers in the arm if he can't walk. You don't give him anything to carry. You don't put any weight on his shoulders. You carry because you are more capable. So it is said that that society is civilized, where women are respected, girls are, you can say, loved. They are, you can say, given facilities, privileges, and the society where women are exploited, tortured, sexually, you can say what you call exploited or molested, that society, the society of demons, that society, the society of Satans. Because where the civilization? Civilization is all about restraint. That you are hungry, but somebody is hungrier. You need to be having some food, but you let the other person have the food or buy something. Suppose only one piece of chocolate is available in the shop. You want to buy it because you are hungry. You don't have any other kind of food to eat, but somebody else is hungrier and only one piece of chocolate. So let him have it. You buy it from another shop. This is what is the essence of democracy, that you let people have, you can say, help, who needs the help, and you let people, you can say, go ahead who is capable of. You let people be scientists who is capable of being a scientist because he's intelligent and his science will deliver. And his science will be used, you can say, impartially. And his techniques and his technology will be used for the benefit of all the mankind living on this earth. I therefore appeal to the people, or I therefore would like the listeners, if there are any, or if there would be any in the future, that the democracy that we are calling, or the democracy that we are practicing, it is not democracy. It is hijacked democracy. In the name of democracy, we are practicing criminocracy or mobocracy. See, in a country like, suppose, India, you have elections are fought in the name of castes and religion. That a religious group, whether minority or majority, you can say that group happens to vote for a certain, you can say, party. merit is not seen. Who is the tolerant person? Who is for everybody? Who is for the whole world? In India, the ancient saints and sages had this concept of the world, that this world may be far flung, countries may be far flung. You have seas and oceans, you can see great rivers, you have mountains. The earth is carved in so many challenging ways also, mesmerizing ways also, and beautifying ways also. You just look at the things that are on the earth and you feel pleasure that the makers of this earth, how much consummateness they might have had, who made this world so beautifully and sometimes challengingly also, that you feel intrigued, you feel surprised, you feel afraid also of looking at certain things that are in nature. I therefore would like our world to think of it. Let democracy be run by the best people, the people who are not selfish, the people who won't be hoarders, the people who won't be economic offenders after they get elected, and they will live plain life. You know, they say William Wordsworth, a great poet, he taught us through his poetry, and he even made observations on a good quality life. That a good life is the life that spends minimum, that spends minimum resources, and you can say make those resources utilized in such a way that you get the maximum benefit. Let us not exploit nature. Let us use only as much as is required to live decent living. There's a poem also by Marcus Trend I had read, and that was based on minimalism, that keeping things whole. And he said that we all have to move, but let us move cautiously, and let us move in time, and let us move judiciously, so that we don't hamper the movements of others. If I like to move, and move means not only physical movement. Movement means this, or moving means this, that take the sunlight as much as you need, or as much as you can take, because so many other people in the winter season, there is spot where sunlight is available, and everybody would like to go into that patch of sunlight where you get some warmth. So you can't capture it. You cannot have it forcefully and prevent others from coming to the area where you have the sunlight. You be there, feel the warmth, and other people also, they crave for having some time with the sun rays. Let them come. So give and take. As beautifully said, that see the winds. The wind is blowing, but sometimes on the way of the blowing of the wind, you have suppose someone. I stand and the wind is blowing, and I feel the blow of the wind on my back, and I also feel the blow of the wind, or you can say movement of the wind uh, all around my body. Where my body is, there is no wind. So what I should do? I should move, so that and the wind also happens to be in that place where my body was standing as an obstruction. Democracy has to be for everyone and good people. Suppose you have a school, and if that school has to be good, the teachers have to be good, the students have to be good. So let that school have very good teachers, and let that school have the students those pupils, or those, you can say, children or adults who are interested in studies, not only suppose admitted to the school for certificates. In India and many countries, it is certificate distribution that is happening these days. Everybody wants to be certificated, means higher education degrees, and most of the people don't have any sense of language, don't have any interest in education, don't devote themselves to researches or to observations. They go to schools and colleges for the sake of fun. On their way to the schools and colleges, and on their way back homes, they just have fun. Go to malls, go to suppose markets, go to cinemas, go to eateries, and they go smoking, they go drinking. Is that the quality of student or students? Students have to be like yogis, like you can see what you call like very interested practitioners, that you have to study books or whatever. You study nature, you observe creatures, birds and animals in a wildlife suppose condition, and you do that. But you are enlisted as a student, but you never study. You never have interest in discovering, inventing, thinking. You see in our democracy, the thugs, the economic offenders, those who have accumulated money, they give money as donations to the political parties, and because of their money, they even, you can say, purchase votes. They give some money on the day of election or around the election time to other people who don't have money, and then they, you can say, what you call, they sell their votes. And this way, people who spend more money, generally people who have more muscle power, people who are more cunning, they get. And cunning means cunning in the sense that not positive cleverness, but negative cleverness, that you cheat others. You have more money and you cheat others or you exploit others. And you are economic offenders, you are tricksters, you are thugs, and you are in majority. Wherever you go, you have hordes of people, and they come together. Good people, 5, 6, 10%, suppose maximum, they don't even get opportunities to vote because they are silenced. They are kept at periphery. They are not allowed to exercise their rights to vote. And before that, these people don't even feel the utility of their votes, because they know even if all of them, all the 10% good people vote for good candidates, they won't be successful. They won't be elected, because 90% of the bad people, they are nexus people. They are together because of their agreements, give and take, that you help them, they help you. You give to them in one way, they give you back in the other way. So you have vested interests, and all these vested interest people, they are together, 80%, 90%. Let us say that you have 70% polling during democratic elections, and 70% of the 70%, you can say what you call polled votes, you have 10% from the good people and 60% from the bad people. Who are the candidates to be declared winners? It would be thugs, smugglers, economic offenders, political cheats, scoundrels. Jonathan Swift had once observed very nicely, and many people, many of us can agree with him that politics is the game of the scoundrels. And in the same context, he says that a farmer, an honest farmer, who happens to, you can say, work very hard, and who happens to be successful in the growth of a blade of grass, this farmer, you don't talk about fruits and other things, only just a blade of green grass. That farmer, according to Jonathan Swift, a great satirist also, and I am satirizing. I am also sharing his satiristic characteristic as a speaker now. I am speaking on behalf of democracy, and that how democracy is, you can say, consternated, how democracy is, you can say, restless to expose its practitioners. It is feeling suffocated, that the democracy that you are calling me, I am not that. I am not free, I am hijacked, and I am being exploited. In my name, bad people are, you can say, getting everything, and the good people who deserve to have even something do not get anything at all. So, Jonathan Swift very rightly said that that farmer who helps the growth of, suppose, some ears of food grain or some blades of grass, that farmer is much better than the whole race of politicians. Now, political people, if they are good, they would take this criticism and they would ponder over it, and they would purify themselves if they are in the wrong ways. But bad people, they would take this criticism of Jonathan Swift as an abuse and as an attack, and they would counter attack. That's why, and W.B.H. said in one of his poems, perhaps the second coming, that the worst people are at the center. They are the deciders, they are the judges, they are the arbiters, they are the jurymen, jury persons. And the best people are a few people, and they are cornered and they are silenced, and they have been gagged. They can't speak anything. And in the democracy in the developing countries of the world, so-called developing, and I have written in that caption, undeveloping, because development doesn't mean that you have more hospitals, you have more police stations, you have more, suppose you can say, skyscrapers. Uh, Development means that people are better now. People were good, now they are better. People were bad, now they are good. People's activities were not pro-human, and now they are. Means improvement, even by 1 millimeter, 1 centimeter, 1 inch. If we are on the right track, if we are getting better through democratic, you can say, practices, then we can say that this is democracy. But the bad people getting richer, and they misuse and abuse their riches. Many people having lots and lots of money, filthy money, they flaunt to others that they would have some tobacco shredded, and they roll these shredded tobacco into a currency note, maybe 50,000 or 10,000 or I don't know, $20,000 or rupees, and they smoke. They want to show that money is nothing for them. They can spend any amount of money to show off. They hold, you can say, parties. They have feasts. They have marriages, and 5,000 people come. Where would they stay? What would they do? They would only litter the streets. They would smoke hundreds of cigarettes. 20 people smoking, suppose 10 cigarettes in 2 hours. So you have smoke, polluting smoke everywhere. You have, you can say, drinking, people are abusing one another, fighting. You may have seen that or heard that many people, they even get killed during the marriage ceremony because you have firing. You have, what is the significance of firing? A wedding ceremony has to be celebrated with songs and music and songs about nature, songs not about body only. So, yes, body, but soul together. But not only abusive, you can say, lyrics or bad lyrics are played on, and people drink and they go amok. And they say that they are enjoying their lives. Is that enjoyment? Does enjoyment mean that you go berserk, you go amok, you abuse one another, you fight, you get killed, and you go on the killing spree? Is that freedom? Freedom has to be conditioned. Freedom gives you, you can see, what you call humanity. You are free to be better. You are not free to be bad. You are free to contribute to peace, contribute to cleanliness, but you are never free to, you can say, aggravate the situation, or to make an already dirty place dirtier, or to make, suppose, a situation that is graver. You have to ease up. If you are good, you have to ease up. You have to come out with solutions to the problems that the society has been facing. But the democracy that is here, every day you see in India, you have different states, and 10% of the ministers, because maybe they are unlucky, so they are caught red-handed and they are in the prisons. And the remaining 20% or 30%, they are, suppose you can say, in panic. They might be, you can say, referred to, or their names might be taken by the imprisoned people. So, but they are afraid. But even then, there's no stoppage to corruption from the top to bottom, because the bottom is corrupt because of the top. If top is not corrupt, there can be no question of members of the bottom getting corrupt. So, and the good people, 5 to 10%, 15%. Why 15%, 10% only? Because to live a good life, decent life, hardworking life, honest life is very difficult. And then people try 5 years, okay, things will be better. Honest people will be given jobs, they will be appreciated, their services will be taken, but they always, you can say, are pushed beyond the periphery, beyond the limits. And they, in frustration, either they kill themselves, they commit suicide, or they just become silent. They become abnormal, half living, half dead. And the bad people, because they have the nexus, they have connections, they can shout, they can, you can say, what you call, kill, they can go on the rampage, they can vote in and block, and they can help the crooked politicians. The good politicians, they never win. And there are politicians, some politicians really welfare minded, very nice, but they don't win generally. And this is the thing that is happening. The worst at the center and the best, a few, are cornered, silenced, and gagged. That is why, as a conscious individual, human being, I feel that let our world be better and better. Let music be more and noise controlled or minimum. Noise will remain because we live in this imperfect world. Bad people will always remain, but they should be minority. Good people have to be majority, so that bad people, if they have to remain ever, they will remain on the earth uh, in the minimum number or controlled number, or you can say the number that can be managed. But if you have 80% people getting bad because they get encouraged for being bad, they feel much better materially because you don't have faith in spirituality. That if you do good work in this life, even if you suffer physically, materially, you will have a better life. You don't believe. So this is the earthly life. Material, you can say, life is seen, that is concrete. Spiritual life, spiritual gains, that is unseen. I therefore would like to appeal to the whole world, influential people, so-called, or strong people, capable people, that understand that this is not democracy. Let democracy be practiced by the good people, and the bad people would turn into good. If they realize that it is goodness, that means honesty, qualities, human qualities. If they happen to cultivate, if they happen to increase in themselves, they would come and everybody would be good. It is better to be good for the sake of life. If you are bad, if you commit theft, if you commit dacoity, if you commit, suppose, all kinds of crimes, then internally you are disturbed. You are not at peace. So why to live a life that doesn't have uh, peace? You live a life of fairness and you have a peaceful life. And that way you can enjoy your life, and you can be good neighbors, you can be good friends, you can be good human beings, and people would not be afraid of you. Rather, they would have good feelings for you. So let all people have good feelings for one another, and let this world, the entire world, be better. That is what I mean. So as democracy, I am speaking that I am not democracy. The way I am practiced, the way I have been hijacked in my name, badness is increasing and goodness is shrinking. The bad elements are, you can say, going high rise, and the good elements, you can say, what you call, shrinking and disappearing. This is not what I want. I want good people to handle me. I want good people to execute me, so that goodness spreads and badness is kept under control. Thank you. God bless us, and glory be to humanity, and glory be to goodness, and glory be to God. And that glory's reflection should be on us by way of our cultivation of goodness within us and virtues within us. And that is all I wanted to say with all of you. Thanks a lot. God bless us. Bye bye.